Yo, it's your can't stop talking about Breath of the Wild. Tears of the Kingdom's gonna consume all my free time, Savi. This is the final video of 3 that I'll upload before the release of Tears of the Kingdom. If you haven't already, go check out my first 2 videos. One is focused on story and the other is focused on gameplay. As for this one, it'll be my final thoughts on Breath of the Wild and what I'm hoping for Tears of the Kingdom. Just a heads up, this will be more of a rant video than my usual stuff, so let's get right into it. After beating Breath of the Wild one more time before Tears of the Kingdom, Breath of the Wild is almost a perfect game. It does a lot of things right. This game is and feels like a fresh start for the series. For those who don't know, Nintendo placed all mainline games into a timeline on how things would unfold chronologically, separating into 3 unique timelines. Nintendo has not acknowledged where Breath of the Wild would go. If Nintendo said, forget the Zelda timeline, Breath of the Wild is a standalone, one-of-a-kind experience, I would be okay with that, but the way things are looking with the Tears of the Kingdom trailers, Breath of the Wild is for sure at the end of the timeline.
Are you sure about that?
Point is, Zelda timeline is weird, confusing, but really fun to talk about. Anyways, there's a lot about this game I like. Runes are fun to use. You know how Pokemon got rid of HMs and just became main mechanics accessible at any time? That's how I feel about rune abilities. Always having access to stuff like bombs, magnets, and stasis is a quality of life update to the series. Cryonosis needed more time to cook since it does one thing, okay, 2 things, but the other thing rarely happens. Cryonosis is useful every once in a while. Shrines are a welcome addition, and getting orbs to upgrade Link made it feel like the player is progressing and becoming stronger. I mentioned in the last video there are only 3 types of shrines and become very samey and copy and paste as the game goes on. Don't get me wrong, there are shrines that are fun as hell and actually make you think, but others are some bullshit. Divine Beasts being main dungeon all function the same. It takes more working to get into the beast and solving the puzzle. The fights with the blights were a challenge and felt rewarding, but again all felt the same. The champion's abilities always being accessible is great. Again, feels like the player is progressing and making Link stronger. If you felt like it was too easy with the abilities, you can just turn these off. The enemy variety does feel repetitive fairly quickly, but Lynels and Guardians are amazing enemies and utilize combat in a fun way. Some complain about the music or the lack of. Breath of the Wild does not have traditional music like Ocarina of Time or Skyward Sword. It only plays music during key moments or used for ambiance. When you ride around, there isn't this majestic sailing song like Wind Waker, just the sounds of the environment and the occasional piano here and there. Some of the best playlists to fall asleep to are Breath of the Wild ambiance on YouTube. For what they were going for, they nailed the music. I've been holding off until now, but Breath of the Wild has actual voice acting for all the main characters except Link, who stays silent. Zelda's voice is perfect.
Your path seems to mirror your father's. You've dedicated yourself to becoming a knight as well. Your commitment to the training necessary to fulfill your goal is really quite admirable. I see now why you would be the chosen one.
I'm happy to hear that voice acting is here to stay and coming back for the sequel. Overall, for being a fresh new start to the series and the first attempt at an open world Zelda game, Breath of the Wild succeeds in what it was trying to do. Breath of the Wild is one of my favorite games, if not the favorite Zelda game. It might be a basic bitch answer, but it's true. I really don't believe in giving scores, so at least give this game a try or even watch someone play it. Breath of the Wild is almost a perfect game. Now, as I was writing this, we really hadn't seen much on this game, so everything I bitched about based on the trailers, it looks like Tears of the Kingdom is going to fix. I will not be talking about any leaks, only stuff that Nintendo has shown off for themselves, since I know the game's story and gameplay are being leaked, so you're safe here. Brand new and returning enemies, dungeons might be making a return. I do like shrines and hope they stay in some form. The song that debuts in the final trailer is fucking amazing. Music feels like it's gonna play a bigger role this time.
Here's what I hope for. We've seen many different versions of Ganondorf in past games. I want to see a Ganondorf that's more humanized, what he was before becoming Ganon, if that makes sense. Since Matt Mercer is voicing him, I want to see flashbacks or something that utilizes his character in a way we haven't seen before.
Breath of the Wild's main focus was that Link had forgotten everything and needed to regain his memories. The flashbacks were beautifully animated, and that was perfect for that game's story. For Tears of the Kingdom, I want cutscenes to take place in the here and now. Since Ganon is back, I want boss fights to be bigger and more over the top. I want massive creatures to fight that take up the whole screen. Okay, hear me out. Since Zelda is supposed to be the reincarnation of the goddess Hylia, praise her, this character is shown off in the trailer. Is that Hylia herself? I mean, that would be sick, but hey, that's just a theory. Again, traveling around in Breath of the Wild did get boring, especially since we got the Master Cycle after everything. But with building your own vehicles like Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts, it gets rid of that problem. I'm assuming the game will have templates to use to create vehicles so the player doesn't go in totally blind. I hope that getting those resources needed to build things aren't too hard to get. There was horse riding in the trailer, so that's staying the same, but I do hope we can tame more unique animals like bears, those skeleton horses, or even mythical creatures. In this trailer, Zelda's riding an elephant, so I have have some hopes. I really wanted to play as Zelda. She was in Age of Calamity, but I was hoping to play as her in a mainline game for once. But it seems like that's not gonna happen since we gotta save her again. There's so much potential for this game, it's really hard not to get my expectations up and be an utter fanboy over this shit. Zelda games have been a big part of my life for a long time now and will continue to be. This has been my final thoughts on Breath of the Wild and my hopes and dreams for Tears of the Kingdom. I want to take a quick moment to thank my lovely girlfriend. She's been such a big help with these videos and even captured the majority of the gameplay herself. Without her help, I would not have been able to get these videos out before Tears of the Kingdom. Thank you for everything, Dawn. This has been my final thoughts on Breath of the Wild and my hopes and dreams for Tears of the Kingdom. How do you feel about Breath of the Wild? Is it your favorite Zelda game like me? Do you think Tears of the Kingdom will live up to the hype? Let me know in the comment section below. This is Savi, and this has been The Vibes. Laters!